Milo's Endless Drawing Pad, a story set in Hawaii. Written by Sheri Tamamoto, illustrated by Vivian, Mineker, Chen. In the middle of the big blue ocean, there was a little green island. On the island lived a curious boy. His name was Milo. Milo was always watching. He watched the birds fly over the ocean. He watched the clouds and the waves. He watched the surfers paddle out and surf in. One day, he picked up a crayon and started to draw. He wanted to draw the things he saw. His brow furrowed as he gripped his crayon. He drew the bird he pictured in his head, the one with the white tail that soared above the ocean. Milo sat back and looked at his drawing. Frowning, he crumpled it up, threw it on the floor, and started again. Again and again, he crumpled his paper and threw it on the floor. His grandpa walked in and saw the balls of paper on the floor. "Why doesn't my bird look like the white seabird that does this over the ocean?" Milo swooped his hand up and down like a rolling wave. "She's a lovely bird," Grandpa replied with a big hug. He traced the crayon markings with his finger. "Here is her curved beak, and her wings, and her long tail." Milo sniffed a few times and wiped his tears. He looked carefully at his bird. All he saw were crooked lines. Milo looked up at his grandpa. A warm smile looked back. "Let's hang this on our wall," Grandpa said, as he took down one of his paintings, taping Milo's drawing in its place. "Will you draw another beautiful picture with me?" Milo looked at his drawing, then at Grandpa's painting on the floor, leaning against the wall. "My drawing isn't nearly as good," he thought. "I used up all the paper," said Milo. "You don't need paper to draw," said Grandpa. "Let's go outside." Milo wanted to stay inside to pout, but he could tell Grandpa wasn't going to let him. They walked through their small yard and out there through their small gate onto the big wide beach. Grandpa picked up a long, smooth stick. Milo found one too. Still frowning, Milo dragged a stick behind him as they walked toward the shoreline. As the sand became smoother and harder, Milo looked back and saw that his stick had made a long line across the sand. Grandpa smiled at Milo and slowly dragged the end of his stick in the sand, creating very small valleys. As he moved his stick around, the small ridges turned into lines, circles, and squares. He drew a turtle, a tree, and finally a house. Milo could tell what each picture was, even though all were crooked, misshapen, and lopsided. As Milo laughed and giggled, a small wave rolled onto the beach and washed away Grandpa's pictures. "What fun," Grandpa said. "Would you like to try?" Milo hesitated. He looked down at the sand and did not move. He wasn't sure he would be able to draw anything that Grandpa would recognize. Milo slowly put the tip of his stick into the sand and dragged it around. "Is that a cloud?" Grandpa guessed. Milo smiled and then tried again. "I know," said Grandpa. "That's a surfboard." Milo giggled. Finally, Milo drew a surfer riding a huge cresting wave. Grandpa got excited and guessed, "That's spaghetti!" Milo laughed and gave Grandpa a big hug. A real wave came and washed the drawings away. Milo tried again, and another wave gently brushed his lines away. When they finally left their endless drawing pad to get shave ice, Milo had lots of sand between his toes and a big smile on his face.